Hello and welcome to LB Presents Live. And yes, it's very early in the morning this morning, and we have a wonderful guest here from Australia. And I decided to do LB Presents to unite people on purpose all around the world to build a purpose-led movement towards global unity. What if we could shift the world into a new era through the eyes of brands and create the face of modern business and the face of the modern world? And I've been running a business called Bob Earth, which is a purpose-led platform connecting businesses all around the world to trade around an impact. And we've been teaching businesses how to build a business to impact change in the world. And through the period of time, we have had some incredible businesses coming through the program that are all leading with purpose. And I wanted to interview them on this show so that I could showcase the incredible journeys that they are creating in the world with their business. And today is no different. I have a wonderful Irish man who lives now in Australia called Ronan Mac, and he has a business called Cred. And it's a platform that helps people take micro actions every single day for social impact with mental health and everything that goes with that. And so I'd like to introduce to you Ronan. Thank you, Ronan, for coming on the show today and for being part of it. And so, Ronan, could you talk to me about what you're doing is actually incredible, and it's very different from what I've seen in the market. And could you just give us a bit of insight into what is it that you specifically do? Because I obviously introduced you in as a tech platform for good that is able to help people take micro actions every day. But can you explain to people, what does that mean?
Yeah, thanks, Lindsay. It's an absolute pleasure to be here and joining you from the other side of the world.
Thank you.
So we are a tech platform, and we complement that with our education programs. So we use a combination of providing people with the tools and the frameworks to take small actions every day to create change in their own lives, but to create a more collective and common good. So we ask people to say, what if you could create 3 new habits by doing 3 simple actions every day? One thing to learn something new every day, so you're progressing personally. One thing every day to look after your mental health and well-being, and one thing every day in the service of others that supports either your family, the community, or the planet. So our what if question is, if I could do an action every day and you could do 3 actions every day, and we could inspire and encourage everyone to do actions every day, that would have a compounding impact for ourselves and the planet. So we align that with the UN Global Goals. So for sustainable development, which we'll be very familiar with. And we introduce that framework where we don't prescribe to people to say, we want to tell you what goals you want to work on, but we help people find out what goals they are passionate about.
Gosh, I mean, if I roll back when I first started my third business, doing something like you're doing would have been so innovative and pioneering and different, and now kind of we're in this new world, and I'm sat here, I'm so inspired by your business, I have to say, and what you're doing in the world. And it's very, very different from what other people are doing. So how on earth did you get to this journey of creating a business like this, Ronan?
That's a great question. So my background is in technology. So I studied and worked in the technology space for a number of years. And then I trained as an area in the neuroscience and became a coach. So essentially I help people learn and understand about their brain so to help people build sustainable habits. And I'm a bit of a personal development junkie myself, and I go on these courses and I make commitments and I take actions and insights, and I never implement things in my life. So I have these books and manuals, which I call my pile of shame. It's these things I look at and I go, oh, the things I haven't implemented in my life. Okay, they never happen. A great intention. Yeah. And then I was coaching.
Like half the population.
Most of us are like that. Yeah. And then I was coaching people, I was training people, I was facilitating workshops, and I see people have their own aha moments themselves, and make their own commitments, but never really do their actions until like the hour before they were meeting their coach, like, because we're human nature. So a couple of years ago, about 5 years ago, I had the idea, like, why couldn't we use technology to help people navigate life's peaks and troughs, ups and downs? I've had some personal challenges around mental health myself, but ultimately help people move forward. And what if we could do it for good? Now, we spent a few years, Lindsay, working out where we leadership development, where we prefer personal development. But my ultimate vision at the start was to create a personalized platform that people could have for themselves that stay with them throughout the duration of their lives. And like any startup, we went around the houses, we pivoted, we made a whole bunch of mistakes.
Of course.
And we're a bootstrap company. So I essentially coach and consult and sell, and then put all that money into the business to develop the platform. And I have a very forgiving and tolerant wife who gave me a lot of slack. And then things weren't going so well, to be honest with you, Lindsay. And about last year, we were 6 weeks away from closing the doors of Cred because we didn't have the traction. And my wife and I had agreed a time frame, a cutoff, and a number. And if we didn't have any traction or see some income, we'd have to close the doors of Cred. And I was in the last chance saloon. And luckily, I came across Bob. And Bob has been a game changer for me.
Wow. So, okay, so talk to me about that then. How did you go on that journey of, because obviously you're a very knowledgeable man. You've been training neuroscience, which is, not the easiest thing to do, and tech. So very different combination. And then, you said that you were 6 weeks away from closing the doors, and then you met Bob. So tell me about the journey of what happened. How come you were at that point in the first place, and how come when you met Bob things turned around for you so quickly?
It's a great question, Lindsay. I think when I look back personally, I had a true vision at the start for what I wanted Cred to be, but I probably didn't believe in it enough myself. I didn't own it. I allowed myself to be probably fear got in the way, because what you're talking about, I think what we're trying to do is something kind of really innovative, something very different, and we're trying to create shifts in society or the world or the way of defining success in life. And so I probably didn't stay true to my greater vision. And you talk, Lindsay, about the 3%ers in the world, and I'd like to see that I am in that space. And
you are.
But so Cred is the Irish word for believe, ironically. Okay. So I want to help people believe in themselves, believe that they can make a difference in the world, in their communities as well. So I probably didn't own things strongly enough. And then I was lucky enough to have done a program with Dent, and Tim was a presenter in that. And I just seemed to click and connect with Tim. And he told me about this great program that Bob was coming out. And I met Sarah, and they said, come to Bob's school. So I went back and I went, let's go back to the DNA of your business. Like, why did you start this? What do you want to be known for? What's the difference you want to create in the world? And as a coach who was being coached by Sarah and Tim at that time, I found it really personally challenging to go through. And there was one stage where Sarah was asking me questions, and what else? What do you want to be known? And what else? And people at the table were like, this is really awkward. Could you stop this conversation? It's awkward for everybody. And I was like, Sarah, please go away. Could you ask someone else a question? And she just, to Sarah's credit, she kept going and like, what do you want to be known for? What's your personal purpose? And I kind of felt like, I'm even got goosebumps thinking about it now. I kind of felt like I'd stepping through a curtain. I was like, I need to step into this and own it. So I went back to like, okay, what do you want to do? What do you want to be known for? What is your purpose? What's the purpose of Cred? What's the difference you want to make in the world? And we're still on a journey. And the great thing about Bob is that we had some insights of Bob, took some things away, tested them in the market. I went back to Bob's school in February this year, just before COVID broke. And I was like, yeah, I had my purpose statement. I don't really love it. It doesn't zing. This has worked well. And that was great around having that support to help us test and refine.
So you hit Bob in COVID. when as well, because I know you were in Bob's School before, but then COVID hit.
Yeah.
And I'm going to come on to post-COVID in a minute and your positioning in the world with your business. But COVID hit and the world completely changed, as we all know, right? I mean, and you came into the L&D program with us, I know, and you made a statement that you were recording record sales to me, and I kind of went, what? Like, can you tell me, like, could you talk to me about that? Because I knew the journey that you'd been on. I knew where you'd been with your business and knew you'd been into Bob's School in Australia, which I have had the pleasure of teaching some of those Australian schools, and they are amazing. And then recently you turned around and said you've been recording record sales. And that's quite a transformation, Ronan, to go from where you were to where you are now. And I really want to know that journey of, what have you done? Like, with going through the program, what have you implemented? How has it changed so radically for you to be able to be recording record sales now from closing the doors?
Yeah. So first thing, leading with brand. Now, talking about what was our purpose? What was the difference we wanted to create in the world? What was our big vision? We have a big vision. 3 billion actions by 2030 to support the UN Global Goals for Sustainable Development, while helping people see their personal impact. Now, at Bob's School last year, early this year, that was 3 million. And Tim went, "I'll make it 3 billion, Ronan. Why don't you?" Like, I was like, okay, I was put another zero on the end of that. So having it leading with a combination of the difference we wanted to create has brought people towards us. It's brought a new community. It's helped us align with people who believe in what we believe in, who share a common purpose. And whereas before I was probably trying to sell on, I've got this app, Lindsay, it's got these features and it does these things, these benefits. And I'm a founder. I love talking about my solution the whole time, like anybody. But so a combination, you need both of them. But specifically when COVID hit, as a coach, I've got a number of clients and I was supporting them, and I was jumping on a whole bunch of webinars with the Neuro Leadership Institute in the US, really to try and distill information to say, how do I support my leaders who are trying to support their people? And it was just webinar after webinar. I would just listen to these things at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. And at one time they talked about, if you can use your products, services, or experience for pro-social impact at the moment, we encourage you to reach out and support your communities. So 3 o'clock in the morning, I had this aha moment. I'm going to reach out to my fellow coaches. I'm going to say, how can we support people at this time? And one of my mentors, a wonderful lady called Kendra Strudwick, we said, let's do a 15-minute mindfulness, a 15-minute session to help people start and end their days very mindfully. So we launched the Cred 15 on the 15th the 25th of March, and we had people join from all over the world. So help people with a sense of structure each day. At the same time, where I was on the L&D program, and you were saying, meet people on a human level. Do not go out and talk about you, your products or services at this time. Trust in the process. You might create a new community at this time. And we built a new community at this time. So we launched that twice daily service, and then people were joining and they were getting value. And then we were saying to people, what else do you need? What else? People were saying, well, we love learning about the neuroscience. Can you do some more things? So we launched these things called Cred 30, which were 30-day challenges with live webinars once a week to help people learn, and then the use of the Cred app. And our community have been innovating with us. So our community have helped us refine our purpose statement. I've said to our community, I don't really love our purpose statement. Can you help us wordsmith it? And they've been giving feedback. So we built a new community. It's energized us, inspired us. And subsequently, we've created a major partnership in the US with a network of 70 universities. And we've gone from revenue falling off a cliff in March to being on essentially Australian JobKeeper support here, to revenue really increasing.
Gosh, I mean, What a journey for you. I mean, and in such a short period of time. And I remember you coming on the L&D program, obviously, and you've been on, religiously every week and listening to all the stuff. And I know from Tim and Sarah, you've been implementing stuff very quickly and innovating very quickly, which I know is what we teach: try, test, redesign, and iterate. And I have to say, I listen to you and I have tears in my eyes. I'm so proud of you. What you've achieved in such a short period of time is incredible. And I want to say, it's interesting how people, businesses like yourself, that even pre-COVID, were so ahead of their time, I would say, that even like ourselves, Bob, that we were very innovative like yourself, that you're leading in a new space that sometimes the market and the world needs to catch up to you and be ready for you. And it's interesting how when COVID hit, the world has been crying out, is the only way that I can term it, actually, crying out for help and support, for people to come together in what I call conscious consumption, consciously consuming in a different way, having a look at how do we come together with each other. So moving from an I to a we conversation, which is, I know, what you instill in your own businesses. Could you talk to me a bit about that? Because I know that when you speak to people, you do say to people, move into a we space, come together as a collective. And I know you do these 30-day challenges, and I know you've done some for some universities recently. So could you talk to me about that, and what does that really mean for you?
Yeah, so I think I'm trying to bring back the word balance. Balance was sexy, then it wasn't sexy. Let's bring it back and make it sexy again, okay? Because
I love that.
I think
you heard it on LB Presents. Make balance sexy.
Make balance sexy again. So I think if I do everything for me in my life and I focus on me and individualism, life becomes quickly out of balance. And if I do things for other people, big
statement across the bottom.
If you said one thing, your key takeaway. And if we do things for other people and the service of others, life goes out of balance as well, because you don't put your own oxygen mask on. If you're a business owner, you don't fund it, you can't keep it. So we're trying to say, get life in balance. So do something for yourself, something to support your mental health and well-being, and something for others. So we run some 30-day challenges around, we've run some in the US. Some of them have been around helping students build leadership capability while doing something for mental health and well-being, and focusing on the area of racial justice and equality, which is a really hot topic, obviously, in the US at the moment. To have a front row seat into that has been fantastic. And we've also just finished a 30-day challenge with 4 US universities, where some of them are transitioning from being predominantly maybe white to being maybe more focused on people of color. They've got some challenges around people be the first generation of their family to go to university. And so that kind of challenges it brings as well. And then some challenges around morbid obesity as well. So to be able to help create a framework to support people to create small changes in their lives, and then to see a university that they can see the impact of their work and how they're supporting their students has been phenomenal. So we've been very grateful for the opportunities at this time. And so what we're saying is helping people do things for themselves, but have a collective and common good.
And I'm going to ask you my key question, because I do this on every show, Ronan. I would like to know, for the second half of this interview, what are you known for? What is your purpose, Ronan?
I am known for helping people live with purpose every day.
Ooh, very lovely. Okay, right. My favorite topic. So you spoke to me, and before the show, and you said to me something really interesting, and I wrote it down. You said about how we teach on Bob around teaching people about the energy of Bob, and when you're going through something, and how do you manage your energy? And then you said you can track that, and you can help people to, and you could come on Bob and you could talk about how, you can track how people are managing their energy and so forth. And I want to know, if you help people live with purpose every day, I know you come from a neuroscience background and you come from a tech background, and that I find very interesting, because my brain is neither one of those. I have to say, my brain's the other side. How do you help people live with purpose every day and put that into your world of neuroscience and technology, and enable people to align with the United Nations goals? And how do you make that tangible? How do you track that? How do you kind of show that? Because I'm sure you've got systems and neuroscience processes that you can talk about to let me know how you do that.
Yeah. So at its basic form, people have got a mobile app, so they can start their day with intention. So we invite them to think about choosing your focus for the day. So start by recording something you're grateful for. So a part of our brain, most of us wake up going, "Oh, my endless to-do list. What are the things I've got to get done?" And we focus on being a human doing as opposed to a human being. So if I start my day with some gratitude and I think about, what am I grateful for? What are some of the people or the experiences around me? Then I check in and I notice my energy levels. So I take a moment in quiet reflection. So I need to slow down my brain. I go, how are my energy levels at 8 a.m. in the morning? And we invite people to think about, don't judge yourself, just notice. Okay, so am I red, amber, or green? And we've just got a list of some basic feelings that you can record to say, how do I feel? Do I feel overwhelmed? Do I feel excited? Do I feel calm? Do I feel stressed? And then I notice, what am I thinking? What's top of mind for me? So you're taking a moment to mindfully start your day and notice some patterns and trends. Okay. Most of us can't remember what we had for breakfast, yesterday. So the fact of just slowing down and then helps us think, okay, what's my priorities for today? What's the one or two or three things? And we know from neuroscience that this prefrontal cortex part of our brain can only hold 3 to 4 things in working memory. And many of us try and do 15 things in a one day. But we'll say, well, if I have to apply laser-like focus to something, what would I do? So our simple framework is focus, move, and connect. So making sure you're choosing your focus. So focus is around where do I choose to put my focus for today? How do I going to make sure I'm staying physically active? Because many of us, when we're stressed or overwhelmed or anxious, one of the first things we give up is physical activity. It's a trade-off. So it's that just a little nudge and a reminder. And then the connect is when we do in service of others. So we invite people to do something in this mental health framework we're using around connecting and checking in with someone else to support their mental health and well-being. So it's a reminder for me to do something for somebody else today. So I might just call my friend or my parent in Ireland to say, just thinking about you, how are you doing today? And it gets that level of balance right. And then we get people to slow down at the end of the day and reflect. So we know from neuroscience, and many of those neural pathways are reinforced when we actually slow down and reflect and say, what did I do well today? What did I do? Could I do differently today? What am I going to continue doing? So on an individual level, a person can track their energy. They can track how they're feeling. They get sent weekly summaries so they can see patterns and trends. And then on a summary level, we can report, like maybe on a cohort level or a company level, the energy across an organization. So imagine you're a CEO. You can look at your organization in real time. You can see anonymized data. We maintain the data stays private to the individual, but on a summary level, you can see, how is the energy in my company? How are people feeling? Like, how is the energy today? How are people feeling? So if people are feeling overwhelmed, we need to make sure that we support them to say, okay, what do we need to do to support our people today? Maybe we don't give them more tasks, but we understand what we can do. So we try and do that balance right around helping people on an individual level, but helping organizations. We can also track impact, Lindsay. So if I record that I checked in 3 times a day and I moved for 45 minutes today and I called 3 people, I can see my personal impact. But an organization can say, here's what we're doing to support the good health and well-being of our people, or here's what we're doing to support another global goal. So you could almost track your corporate social responsibility piece as well.
Wow, that is incredible piece of tech and knowledge to be able to track the energy of an organization. I mean, that is remarkable. What I love about that is because I've worked with people brands, as you know, pretty much the whole of my career. I would say for the last 30 years, I've worked with people brands. So I've worked with business brands and people brands, and I work with employer brands, and I work with very successful celebrity people. And to be able to work with what I do with the people brands and then track the energy of the people brands as they're going through would be an incredible tool to have and be able to go out to organizations. And I think now more than ever, because of COVID and what's happened in the world, businesses are now needing to understand the energy of an organization. It's no longer that you can hide anymore, I don't believe, for the bigger organizations particularly, and allow a lot of those bigger organizations were having a lot of burnout, weren't they, inside the corporates and so forth. And Sarah would speak well of that, coming from a corporate space, our partner in Australia. And interestingly, now more than ever, I think people working from home, they're not working from the office, yet these big organizations are no longer understanding how to manage people. Your whole business model would play wonderfully into the energy of a person and actually helping people through the mental health space of that, and also through an impact space, which is exactly what you've just said.
Exactly. So we're saying to corporates, what if you could provide your staff with a sense of structure and focus every day, a sense of connection because they got that people working from home, some in the office, and then a sense of purpose. They're part of something bigger than themselves. They're part of a challenge to say, how many actions can we do as a group of people? So it's a beautiful sense of, I guess, or a nexus of lots of things coming together, Lindsay. Yes.
So you came into Bob and you united on purpose, didn't you? And you have been part of our wonderful movement, campaign, initiative. It is a 5-year summit that we're running, and it's Unite on Purpose, and we're going to run it as a day every year. And what did you unite on, and what have you done since uniting on purpose? I'm interested to know that first before I ask you my question.
So there's a couple of the global goals that I'm passionate about. So
great.
Responsible consumption. Okay. That's been something I made a commitment to. So I'll talk more about that in a few minutes. I'm very passionate about reducing poverty.
Amazing.
Zero hunger. Very passionate about that as well. Partnerships for the goals, which is what brings us all together and why we all need to unite on purpose, obviously, Lindsay.
Absolutely.
Reduced inequalities in the world. I've got 2 young daughters, so I'm very passionate about gender equality as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And quality education. Finally, good health and well-being. So I think I can do my own individual actions, but my bigger impact is about educating people around the global goals and providing frameworks for people to take small actions themselves around these global goals. So my 3 actions and your 3 actions and everyone's 3 actions can someday get us towards 3 billion actions towards 2030 and 2031.
And so look, if I show you something that my actual computer is resting on at the moment.
I can see that. Impact the world.
The family board game, which we are launching at the summit. And we are aligning those with, I need to put it back on my computer now. We're aligning them with all the global goals that sit for children and for families. So when you race to impact the world, you are able to choose which goal you're going to impact and how you're going to move yourself from Google fame to guru fame and become a 3% leader and go and impact change in the world. So for me and you, and you know this anyway, I've been working with the United Nations for the last year and a half now, I've had very fortunate of working with Leela Kabasi, who's the head of the Global Compact, who's actually opening our summit on the 25th of November. And you should be coming and doing a Unite On masterclass for us at the summit, because you are all about the United Nations goals. So you've heard it here on LB Presents. I am going to have Ronan come and do a Unite On the goals, and you can do a workshop on that for us on the 25th of November.
I would love it. My pleasure.
Thank you very much. Okay, so my last question, Ronan. The head of your government. What's the name of what's your government again?
Scott Morrison.
Scott, right? He rang me yesterday. He actually rang me. Yeah, he rang me, and he said, "Here, Ronan's coming on." And I said, Scott, he's coming on my LB Presents. And he said, "Could you do me a favour, Lindsay? Would you give him the keys to the country just for a day?" So I said, "Sure, Scott, no problem. I'll give him them." So hang on just a minute. In my Unite on Purpose bag, I'm just about to send it over to you. Hang on.
Got it. Thank you. Got it.
Got it. Right. They're in there. Look after them, won't you? Because I do need to get them back tomorrow. He's basically said, Ronan, that you, Ronan, can have the keys to the country and also have the influence for the world for one day only. And he's asked to say, what would you like to do for the one day? And so that you can report that back, so he can tell all of everybody in government, parliament, what you would like to do for the day.
What would I do for a day? Just a small little question like that, Lindsay. Oh.
Just a little question. But I do need the keys back after you've done your day, and I'll give them back to him.
Well, I would spend my day trying to unite people around a common purpose. Like what do we want Australia to be known for? What's the difference Australia wants to take? What do we want to lead on in terms of climate action, in terms of gender equality, reduced inequalities, reducing poverty? This is the difference that Australia is going to make in the world. Okay, so a combination of inspiration and action. So that's what I would spend my day doing.
Oh, what a way to end the interview. Thank you so much, Ronan. And I think you should keep hold of the keys for a few more days if I were you, and not give them back. Thank you so much for coming on today. Thank you for agreeing to come onto my summit on the 25th of November. You will help us to unite on purpose on the day. Don't worry, I will give you more information about what we want to do. And we are going to catch up after this show, because there is definitely a huge unity for both businesses, Bob and yours, Cred, to be able to do something magical together. So watch this space. Thank you, all my viewers at LB Presents, for watching this show. Another incredible interview. I feel so blessed to have these incredible people around me. And if you would like to come and meet all of these businesses, then come and join us. We're all spinning around on the purpose-led platform called Bob Earth. And hey, you can come and build a brand, to grow a business, to impact an industry and shift the world. And shh, it's a quiet revolution. See you next week. And remember, like, subscribe, share to the YouTube channel. And why don't you leave a comment in for Ronan today and ask him a question, or for one of my other interviews from the other day, because we're all checking the YouTube channel and we will all get back to you. And we would love to have you part of the Bob Earth community. See you next time.